Hello, welcome. It's nice to see you. My name is Liz, and I'm glad that you've come today. Before we get started, let me ask you what you would like me to call you.
Hey, you can just call me Olga. That's okay.
Okay, great, Olga. Thank you. Let me tell you a little bit about the process that we'll engage in today, and then you can ask questions, and then we'll get started. So, our session today will be completely confidential, and anything that you say, I will not be sharing. The only exceptions to that are in the case that our discussion involves some risk of harm to yourself or others, at which point I will have to disclose that to the appropriate authorities. But otherwise, everything you say to me will be kept completely confidential between us.
Okay.
Um, and we will go at a pace that seems comfortable for you. And I'll do my best to um, see how I can help you. And I'm glad you're here, and we'll get started. So, as is often the case, I think you filled in paperwork when you did your intake, and I went through your paperwork and have a sense of some of the issues that you're um, dealing with now. But it would be, I think, really nice to hear from you um, directly today, to just get us started. What brings you in today?
Yeah, I'm just struggling with my children. I have two, and I'm trying to be a good mom, but I often feel like I'm not doing well enough. When they start fighting, when they scream at each other and don't act like I thought the siblings would be behaving, it just makes me it's just really discouraging to me. So I'm not sure if I should work on my mom skills. If I should work on how I react to them. I think I just need some help.
Sure, sure. Well, I'm glad you're here. Uh, Being a parent is challenging, and there are lots of experiences that can be hard, and we can certainly talk about those. So I hear you say that your children are fighting, and the conflict between them is having consequences for you and making you question how you're doing as a mom.
Yes. I mean, some days they're fine and they're just lovey-dovey and they're hugging and they're okay, but some days, I don't know, out of nowhere, one is trying to impose his authority over the other one and the other one is fighting back, and I'm not sure how to handle them both and how to handle myself because I become very irritated, and I at this moment I don't even feel like I want to figure out whose fault it is,
Mm.
if it's possible at all to do that. I just want it to be over. I just want a conflict to be done. I have enough of other things in my life that are irritating, and I'll take a lot of my energy, and then this happens and I just don't know how to deal with this.
That's a lot. That is a lot. You're balancing your children's needs, you're balancing your own needs, and there's only so much time in the day, and there's only so much emotional space that anyone, emotional energy that anyone can carry.
Yeah, I feel like I'm running out sometimes.
How is this? How are you feeling in those moments?
I feel angry and I feel very irritated, and I just want them to stop. I just want them to stop because why can't they understand that mom is already super tired and mom already has so much on her plate, and it seems like they're just doing it to make me more angry.
Hmm. When you have moments where you're experiencing frustration with your kids, do you respond to them about their interaction? Do you do you use particular strategies to either intervene with them or for yourself?
It really depends on the day because sometimes I try to talk to them and figure out what's going on and try to teach them that it's not nice to act like this toward one another. But sometimes I'm just so run down and I just don't have any energy left, and it ends up in being screaming, shouting, and everybody goes to bed unhappy.
That's seems like it's likely frustrating for you and for everyone in the family.
Yes, it is. It is frustrating. It feels like it's affecting the whole family.
Are there times where you have taken a step back from the kids when they're fighting with each other and removed yourself either physically or emotionally from the situation?
I guess I try to do. I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but the way I understand it, I think I try to do it sometimes. I try to see why they're fighting. Is that what you mean?
More, I think more what I'm asking is rather than moving into the conflict, are there times where you withdraw yourself from the conflict, either leaving the room, perhaps, and letting them work it out themselves, or still being present in the room, but emotionally withdrawing to give yourself some space?
Oh, yes, I tried all of those. And unfortunately, I try to let them resolve it on their own. And unfortunately, when I do that, they still come to me complaining about the other one doing something. And I get involved one way or another.
See. I'd like to go back to something you said a few minutes ago about feeling like you weren't a good mom when your children were fighting like this. Tell me a little more about those feelings.
Well, you know how you expect your kids to be okay. And when your kids don't do too well, I don't know, I feel like I didn't do my job too well. Like I see them fighting and it's like, what did I do wrong to have them be like that and fight like that?
It's hard not to take um, take these feelings on ourselves sometimes, to expect that other people's, I think especially our kids' behavior is a reflection of us and our parenting. Are there,
Yeah, it is hard to do that. And that's why I'm here, because I feel like I need to do something either with myself or with my children. I need to fix something before we all go crazy from screaming and shouting.
sure, sure. Well, what does being a good mother mean to you? What, let me ask that question and then I have a follow-up question.
Being a good mother, well, I think it's when you have good kids and they behave well and they go to school and they make good grades and they listen to you, things like that.
So that sounds like a definition of good kids.
Yeah.
What does what do you feel having good kids as you've described it means about you as the mom?
Well, it means I've done my job well as a mom. If they're good, then I did it all well, and then I did it all right.
Are there Can you imagine other reasons why kids would fight with each other besides whether or not they had a good mom?
Well, I mean, of course they fight for their own reasons, but if I did my job well, they would have known how to resolve the conflicts without fighting. I tell them all the time how to do it. They just don't seem to listen ever.
Kids do not listen often. I think that that's a very common experience of parents, and it's remarkably frustrating in a lot of cases. We only have a little bit of time left today, but with our remaining time, let me ask you about the next kinds of strategies that might be helpful in making you feel better in terms of how you're interacting with your kids. Are there strategies that you've tried that you found more helpful than others that we could
I came
work
here.
on more? I'm sorry?
I came here.
Which is a fantastic first start. Absolutely. Have you found that working with your kids one-on-one to talk to them about their individual, the way they engage with their sibling individually has been helpful?
Nah, they listen to me and then they just go on doing their own thing again and again. They seem to listen and to understand when I talk, but then it's all over again and they forget all of it.
That's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we have some work to do. And in our next session, let's both come back to some of the feelings and start coming up with some additional strategies that you could try at home the next time your children fight to both turn down the volume of their conflict, but also to protect you and your emotional response and what you're carrying as a result of how your kids interact with each other.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome, Olga.